Skull and Bones has been free to play for the past few days thanks to an open beta, and I've been playing it quite a bit, and I have a lot of mixed thoughts. I'm going to discuss it. I'm going to show you guys some raw gameplay. I'm going to give you guys my review of the beta, my first impressions of the overall game, but before I do that, you should hit that subscribe button. I talk about video games all the time on this page, discussions like this, day one reviews, I do a lot, but I also talk about movies and TV shows as well. But anyway, like I mentioned, this is very much going to be a first impressions review. The full game is not out yet. This was just an open beta, but it was a huge open beta. In this open beta, we got to explore the entire map of Skull and Bones. We got to do a ton of quests, both main and side quests, a lot of different activities. We got to level up quite a bit. And again, this isn't the full game, but if history has taught us anything, open betas that come out this close to release that let you experience such a huge chunk of the game are gonna be practically identical to the full game, especially when it comes to Ubisoft betas. Skull and Bones has been a game that I've been weirdly optimistic about. I have no idea why. It's just a game that I've always been looking forward to playing. Delay after delay after delay, I still wanted to play the game, and if you've watched my gaming videos, you'd know that I'm a bit easier to please. If a game has a lot of criticisms towards it, if a game has a lot of shortcomings, but it has a satisfying core gameplay loop, I tend to still get a lot of enjoyment from the game. Just go look at my Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League videos. That's a game that I was not expecting to enjoy much at all, but I ended up really liking it because I loved the core gameplay loop. And my enjoyment with that game made me weirdly more hyped for Skull and Bones. But after playing Skull and Bones for many hours, it's really hard for me to justify playing it anymore. This is one of the most mixed games that I've played ever, really. It has so many shortcomings. It has so much wrong with it, but it also has a few things that keep me coming back. Anyway, I'm gonna start with the negatives, and my first negative is that this game just feels so cheap. So cheap, especially for a Ubisoft game. It certainly doesn't feel quadruple A, and it barely feels triple A, and it's so depressing because Ubisoft, despite what you think about Ubisoft games, they know how to polish their games. This game has been in development for years and years and years and literal years, and I know that they've restarted development several times, but this finished product, this game, feels like it hasn't even really been in development for much more than a year. Which again is so strange coming from Ubisoft because, again, say what you will about Ubisoft games, but they know how to polish their yearly releases. I know a lot of people don't like it when Assassin's Creed comes out year after year after year, and I know a lot of people didn't like it when a new Far Cry game was coming out every year, but for the most part, they were polished games. Yeah, there were some, Assassin's Creed unities, but most Ubisoft games feel miles and miles above what Skull and Bones is. The game just feels so cheap, from its animations to its lack of cutscenes. Like, I'm not saying that there should be a cutscene for everything. Hell, I'm sure if there was a cutscene for every time that you undocked, yes, we'd probably watch it the first 2 or 3 times, but everyone would end up skipping it after, the 5th time that you see that same animation. So it's not like it's a detriment to this game that it has no animations like that, but the simple fact that they didn't even put them there just shows how little effort was put into this game, or it feels like little effort was put into this game. Yes, sometimes you can be sailing around the ocean, and you can see ships in the distance, and you can see the sun setting, and you see the sunlight on the water, and you hear your crewmates singing, and there's moments where you're like, wow, this game can be pretty. This game can be immersive. This game can be enjoyable. But then you look to the left and you see a coastline and you see trees that looked like they were ripped from a PS2 game. And it just breaks all immersion, at least for me. A big part of this game is getting resources. You chop down trees, you chop down bushes, you break into old ships and you take their resources. And you don't even do that on foot. You don't even dock, go to a tree, and then chop it down, like even the cheapest survival games let you do. You do this all from your ship. You do everything from your ship, and this game just screams, we cut so many corners. There's no hand-to-hand combat, which I think is this game's most detrimental flaw. This game just has this horrible habit of making every single thing that you do feel identical to each other. From attacking ships to attacking outposts to collecting resources, everything just feels the same. It never feels like you're doing anything different. Same with questing, both main quests and side quests. Side quests are either go here and destroy this ship, or go there and collect this resource. And you want to know what the main quests are? They're either go here and destroy this named ship, or go there and collect this important resource. Which again, all of this wouldn't be so bad if the core gameplay loop was just far more fun than it actually is. But to me, in my opinion, the gameplay is just passable at best, and the worst thing about it is that it makes me just want to play other games. Every 5 minutes I was playing Skull and Bones, I thought to myself, I wish I was playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag, or I wish I was playing Sea of Thieves. And that's a horrible thing to want while you're playing a brand new game. Because like when you're playing Black Flag, you actually get to board ships and use your sword to slaughter people. When you're attacking outposts, you actually get to go into those outposts and fight the people in those outposts. But you don't get to do any of that in Skull and Bones. And I'm not saying that Skull and Bones should have just been a ripoff of Black Flag, but it just does everything worse. And like manning your ship is just so simple and so boring. And I'm not saying it's the most complex thing ever, but it's just so much more fun to do in Sea of Thieves. Despite all of those cons, despite all of those criticisms that I have, I know that when this game is released officially, I'm gonna see myself standing at a register holding a copy of Sea of Thieves in my hand. I'm gonna see the cashier give me a very judgmental look as I hand them $70. Because this game is far from a dumpster fire. Even all those criticisms that I just gave it sound like, nails in the coffin, but I do genuinely think at the end of the day that this game has potential to be fun, and this game is already addictive. And here's where I get into some of the pros of Skull and Bones. Besides the main quests, the side stuff can be enjoyable. When you get to choose what you do, when you get to just do stuff yourself and kind of create your own adventure, so to speak, it can be fun, and it can be rewarding, and there can be a true sense of discovery. Like when you go to a bounty board and you take a bounty for this named difficult ship, and then you sail off and you find the ship, and then you fight it and you destroy it and you plunder their resources. That is satisfying. I enjoy doing that. And when I went to the job board and I took these random fetch quests, I liked doing those. I liked choosing to go collect resources. I liked choosing to upgrade my ship. One time, me and the person I was playing this game with found a treasure map, and we followed the treasure map, and we didn't look up resources, we didn't look up a walkthrough, we just did it on our own, and we found the treasure, and it was satisfying to do that. Was it as satisfying as it was in Sea of Thieves? No, but it was still fun to do. But those same sort of objectives and those same sort of goals, when they're part of the main story quest, it's just annoying, and it makes the game feel cheap, and it makes the game feel pointless, and it makes the game feel meaningless. But when you choose to do these things, it's fun, it's weird, it's strange. And like I said, I got pretty hooked on the upgrading in this game. Upgrading my ship, getting a bigger and stronger and cooler looking ship, equipping new cosmetics to it. And cosmetics is something that this game does surprisingly well. There's so many different cosmetics to unlock, not only for your ship, but your pirate as well. You see just many different costumes. No online players really look alike. Not many ships really look alike, and you get to unlock a lot of stuff in-game. There's so many cool looking cosmetics you unlock for in-game money that you earn very, very easily. Skull and Bones was a perfect candidate for a game to just be monetized into oblivion and just have horrible monetization practices, but luckily so far they avoided that for the most part. I know that this game is not an MMO, but when you treat it like an MMO is when it's at its best. When you go do bounties, when you go do jobs, when you see an outpost and you choose to plunder it and all these enemy ships come at you, and then you see other online players start to join in on the bounty, and it feels like this shared world mini MMO, is when this game is at its best. And that's another reason why I think I'm going to buy this game at launch, because I don't know how long of legs this is going to have. I hope hope Ubisoft support it. I hope Ubisoft make more content for it and make this game a lot better than it is now, because this game has so much potential. But like I said, I played through this beta with another person, and I know for a fact I wouldn't have had nearly as much fun as I was playing alone. And another thing, like I already mentioned, this game is so fun when you're out doing world activities and you see other online players join in when that PvP starts to kick in. And I really, really hope that Ubisoft support this game for a long, long time, but I have a very strong feeling that this game is going to be dead, and it's going to be dead soon. So I want to play it at launch. I want to play it when there's a player base. And if you're even slightly interested in this game, mainly due to its multiplayer aspects, I have a feeling you might want to jump in at launch too, because if you try and play this game in 6 months, I have a feeling you're going to be really hard pressed to find another online player sailing the seas next to you. I am going to make a follow-up to this video at some point within the next few weeks after I put in a significant amount of hours into the full base game. The concept of that video is going to be something along the lines of, does Skull and Bones ever get good? Because I'm really curious to see how endgame works in this game. I'm really curious to see how the sense of discovery works, if there's more to unravel, more to do, more things to have fun with. But anyway, that's my first impressions of Skull and Bones. Did you play the beta? If you did, let me know what you thought about it in the comments. Once again, consider subscribing, and yeah, thank you for watching, especially if you watched this far.